All right. Welcome to the W2W review live version right here on YouTube. I am the Oakland Knight. Joining me from his LA studio, as always, is the Raider Pirate. What's going on, Pirate?
What's going on, Raider Nation?
All right, Raider Nation. Today we are running obviously a different kind of format once again. As you can see on your screen, you cannot see our faces. We are going to be running a podcast radio style show today right here live for you on YouTube, where we are going to be covering the upcoming game, the Raiders taking on the Jaguars in Jacksonville. We have a special guest with us today, the guy that covers the league like a blanket. It's our boy. It's our NFL insider, Louis T. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? Thanks for having me on the program as always. Love being here, man. Where else would I rather be than on the wheel to win, man?
Beautiful, man. We appreciate you as always. To kick this thing off, I'm gonna address Pirate real quick. Pirate, what are some of your thoughts heading into this week? I know that there's been a lot of stuff going on about our defense, our offense, but what is just your overall census of what you expect this weekend?
Well, I'm you out, man. I don't know if that was a good way to introduce Louis T. I mean, I'm going to give you another chance, man, if we can. Let's just stop right here. Go ahead.
All right. We like to welcome to the show the man that covers the league like a blanket. Who else could it be but our man, Louis T.
What's going on, man? You guys are too much. I really appreciate the program, man. Love it.
Hey, man.
Love it.
Hey, man, here's what it is. Again, like I said, man, there's so much going on in the NFL right now. The phone lines are going off. We're getting phone calls on a pretty consistent basis. We're getting phone calls from people in Vegas. We're getting phone calls from people in Oakland. We're getting phone calls from everywhere. I mean, it's just bubbling up right now. We don't even have time, honestly, and this is the God's honest truth. We don't have time to render, edit, or do anything else. I'm just telling you the God's honest truth right now. So much is happening. Has there ever been a greater time to be a Raider fan than right now? You got a team that's 4-2. Yes, they came off a horrible performance, but the bottom line is, team looks pretty bright. Jack Del Rio's got to do a couple of things. He's got to make a couple of changes. And if he does those things, this football team is going to be a playoff team. We've got Oakland in a freaking Mamba or Python type of fight with Las Vegas. I mean, this is like choke somebody and spit out their bones. At this point, we've got so much stuff going on that literally we cannot sit here and produce a program, later release it to you guys, and it's in any way relevant. I mean, we just can't do it. So we decided, and Jerry, again, our social media guy, told us, go live, go on there, get the people that you're going to talk to. You've got to go live. It's happening so fast. So once again, we appreciate a guy like Louis T. that's coming on the program and is willing to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. And folks, I got to tell you right now, go to this guy's website. Go to the Louis T Network. He doesn't talk about the Jaguars. He doesn't talk about the Chargers. He doesn't talk about the Chiefs. About everybody. And he's got information on every single football team. And let me just put this out there. He's not saying call in and, he's not doing, clickbait type things. This guy's giving you the information for free. You got all these other guys. Hey, the Raiders are going to do this. And if you call in this, he's not doing that. Folks, he's giving you the lowdown on what's going to go down in his opinion. And this guy's got. So once again, we appreciate you guys for watching. We appreciate you guys for coming here. And we appreciate you guys for understanding. Stuff is moving so fast. We're trying to move with it. We're trying to get lean. We're trying to do what we can do to cover what's happening. It's all happening so fast. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do today. Knight?
Absolutely. And this is a great format for us to be able to stay up to date and keep you guys up to date with certain things that we get developed. Like he said, our phones are ringing, our emails are blowing up. We've actually reached out to a lot of not just the Raider community, but the NFL community as a whole. And Louis T is our main source when it comes to everything NFL. That's why you see him here on our show. This guy's got his finger right on the pulse of every 32 teams in the NFL. So we always appreciate him. And you guys need to go check out the Louis T Network. If you don't, you're missing out. So this format is simply based upon the fact that we can get the information out to you immediately. What we do with this afterwards, we could put it up on podcasts for you. We could do a lot of different things, but this allows us not only to get you out the information, but also starting tomorrow, get you guys involved. So
oh my God. And one thing before, let me just, it's moving so fast. There's no other way we can do this. I mean, there is literally no other way we can do this right now with the vote that happened in Las Vegas, with what's going on everywhere. Tomorrow, folks, we've got Grizz Jones coming on, so that you guys are going to want to watch. Every week, we're going to have Louis T coming on Thursday. You know, like we talked about, this is going to be a guy that's going to break down what the opposing team is going to do out there for you. You know, again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to make that point clear that, of course, you know, we are reporting on some things, and we've got to get lean. We've got to get fast. We've got to do what we can do. We're going to have some great guests on, and we have a phenomenal guest on today. Phenomenal. So go ahead, Jason.
No, that's fine. You cut me off one more time, I might lose it, but I'm okay. My afro. Yeah.
Sorry.
We're good. We're good,
All
man.
right.
We're good. I'm easy going. Anyways, let's go ahead and get down to the brass tacks of why we're here. We're here to talk about the Raiders at Jaguars this Sunday. Man, there's a lot of things going on. And Louis, this is where we bring in your expertise, my brother. What can you tell us about Jacksonville, especially the way they performed last weekend? What is it? You know, our defense is so bad right now, so bad, averaging over 428 yards a game. What are we looking at with Jacksonville and Blake Bortles?
Well, Knight, I'll tell you what, man, this is a really good matchup for your Raiders. I didn't think last week was a good matchup, which is why I didn't think the Raiders would win the game. This is a team that, in all honesty, fits right with what the Raiders want to do defensively. The Jaguars will turn the football over. Blake Bortles will make mistakes if you put pressure on him. And sometimes you don't even have to put pressure on him. Even when he's not looking for trouble, he finds trouble. So this is a team, they're struggling to run the football. Raiders have a problem stopping them run. They're not where they want to be offensively. Everyone thought the Jaguars were going to be the hot, trendy team in the AFC South, and they were going to be able to rack up a ton of yards and a ton of points, and it just hasn't been that way. I mean, they beat the Bears last week 17-16, and they literally were trailing in that game for 55 minutes and stole that game at the very end. And so this is a team that's still trying to figure out some things offensively. So that should be music to the ears of every Oakland Raiders fan out there. Now, that being said, they still have explosive playmakers on the football field in the Allen Bros and Allen Robinson and Allen Hearns that can get the job done. Chris Ivory is starting to come back into his own. Thought he had a solid game. It wasn't great. It wasn't a needle mover last week, but he's starting to run with a little bit more authority, which is what they signed up for when they wrestled him away from the Jets. And they still are using TJ Yeldon as that change of pace back. So they still have guys that can do some things. And as Raiders fans know, Julius Thomas is a guy that can do some things as well. So they've got weapons in Jacksonville, but this is a really good matchup for the Raiders this week. If you want to look at a situation, you're like, let's get back on track. Let's put last week behind us. Let's move on. Let's try to get a W. This is the team you want to see coming down the pipeline.
Now, I'm going to ask you a little bit of a different question here. The Raiders right now can get away. They can get on a bus, a school bus, a Greyhound bus, a concert bus, whatever you want, and they can travel somewhere else, and they can stop listening to the clippings. They can stop listening to how good they are. They can stop listening to with this football team. Can you get to Florida? Can you become a cohesive football unit? And again, as somebody that's outside the Raider Nation, we talk about it all the time. Make this change, make that change. You see that is wrong with this defense, Louis? And can they, within this 2-week period, being isolated, almost like a mini training camp? This is almost like a really, really cool thing that Jack Del Rio can do. Get away from all the reporters, get away from all the family, get away from all the hype, get away from the NFL Network's top 100, down with these guys. Can he make them understand, look, guys, we got to be together going forward? What are your thoughts moving forward? What are your thoughts on the first 2 games? What are your thoughts on him being able to get the guys together and, not believe the hype? As an outsider, what do you see from this Raider team right now?
Well, this could definitely be a galvanizing trip for them, in Florida the next 2 weeks, taking on the Jaguars and the Bucks. This is definitely an opportunity for them to potentially things around, but this isn't an overnight fix. And I talked about this last night, as a matter of fact, on the Louis T Live program on my YouTube channel, Louis T Network. And I had a Raiders fan ask me that exact same question, like, man, what can we do to fix this defense? And why is it so bad? And I'm like, it's so many different layers. It's not like a quick fix. If it was, they'd fix it. I mean, these coaches spend every waking hour trying to figure out what's wrong and how to fix it. It's not like they haven't sat down and thought about every single thing that we talk about in these different various programs about how to fix the defense. But there's so many different moving parts. When you sit down and you take a look at this Raiders defense, you talk about losing a guy in Charles Woodson last year that was the unquestioned leader of that defense, hell, the football team in general. But let's just keep it to the defense. He's gone now. You bring in a veteran in Reggie Nelson, and you're hoping that he fills that void, but he's not Charles Woodson. Let's face it. So you lose Mario Edwards Jr.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, there's only one Uncle Charles. And so you bring him in, and he's not what you thought, and he's not going to fill those shoes. They're too big. Then you look at losing a guy like Mario Edwards Jr. in the preseason, and I don't want to put too much into the Mario Edwards Jr. Stock, but it's a big loss for a guy on that defensive line that does a lot for the Raiders. Then you look at all the moving parts. I mean, just think about this. Bruce Irvin, first-year Raider, coming over. You're trying to fit him into the scheme. You're trying to figure out what to do with Khalil Mack and with the first-time defensive coordinator in Ken Norton Jr. You got a bunch of rookies in there. You got your first-round pick, Carl Joseph, in there at the safety position, getting reps, starting. You got Corey James, who you had no intentions of starting at inside linebacker. There's so many moving parts with this Raiders team right now. Shalik Calhoun getting snaps. It's just impossible to get all these guys on one accord and expect them to come in and ball right away. It's asinine. And so you didn't expect them to struggle the way they have.
So let Louis tell the Raider Nation the truth. It's a mess.
It's a mess. I told you that last week. I said you can't stop anybody, and I've said this on my program for the last 3 weeks now. Like, these turnovers are going to dry up, and when you play against teams, and I told you this last week, that won't turn the football over like a Kansas City, that is going to be stingy with the turnovers. If you can't go out and get defensive stops, you're going to lose the football game. That game last week, setup to show Raiders fans that, look, you can't play defense the way that because I had people actually yelling at me when I said, look, the turnovers are going to dry up. And what are you going to do then? Like, we're just going to keep forcing turnovers. And No, you're not going to keep forcing turnovers every week. You're not going to get 3 turnovers every week. That's not how this league works. You're going to have to stop some teams. And if you can't stop teams, you're going to be the New Orleans Saints. You're going to lose some shootouts. You're going to win some shootouts. But you're not going to win enough games to go to the playoffs. You're going to end up 7-9. You're going to end up 8-8. You have to play some sort of defense. If you don't, you're going to be the New Orleans Saints. You saw what they did last week? 41-38. It's out of those every week, okay? You got to start getting some defensive stops. And if this team can't find a way to do that, you're going to have some games like I think you can force some turnovers versus Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you do that, you're going to create some short fields for Derek Carr and that offense, and they're going to score points, and you're going to win the football game. But what happens when you play a team that doesn't want to give it away 3 times? Stops, and they're moving the football up and down the field, and they're getting in the end zone, not kicking field goals. That's what's going to happen.
I would ask Jason, I'm sure you have a couple of questions, but the main one that I would ask, I think that Jacksonville and Tampa Bay give up a lot of turnovers. But
Yep.
Jace,
Yeah.
what do you got?
Yeah, no, he touched on a few different points that I want to bring up, and it'll switch gears a little bit too. We got exposed last week, in my opinion. Like you said, when the turnovers dry up, it's about getting stops. And now we've been playing the type of football for the first 6 weeks where our offense is the one that really, it's about who scores the most points. We've been able to do these things. Like if you look at that San Diego game, San Diego in a lot of ways had us. I mean, it looks, when you look at the statistics, it was pretty close, but you could see where we were dominating, especially on offense. Last week, our offense came out so flat and really couldn't get it going. Now, I understand that Carr was slinging the ball to Cooper all through that first drive. It looked great. It looked like we were going to run away with this thing. And then all of a sudden, once our offense hits a slump and we cannot score and our defense is on the field too long and allowing these guys to run the ball all over us, throw the ball deep on us, the separation starts to take place. We're not making adjustments. So we get a lot of slack here, Louis. So I want an outside perspective on this. What is okay, I know we're a top 5 offense. I understand that Bill Musgrave is a part of that. But we have a feeling that there's a lot more that Bill Musgrave can do and should be doing. What is your thoughts on our offense and our offensive coordinator?
Well, I like Bill Musgrave. I think he's a solid OC, and he's been around the league for quite some time.
You just lost 10 points. 10 points. Go ahead.
I like Bill. I can't sit here and lie. I like Bill. I don't love him, but I like him. I think he does a great, admirable job. His biggest problem, and he's no different than 25 other offensive coordinators around the league. He likes to throw the football. He's pass happy. This Raiders offense. My biggest gripe every week is I look up and the leading rusher has 9 carries. The leading rusher has 7 carries. And it's not like it's a situation where it's 9 carries, 19 yards. You're like, damn, well, we can't run the ball, so let's throw it 45 times. This guy's got 9 carries for 50 yards, and you're like, wait a minute. Why didn't he get 4, 5 more touches? Why aren't they running the ball collectively 27 times in this game? That's why my biggest issue with the Raiders.
Yeah, right. That's what we're talking about. Like, tell us the truth. If you were averaging with your scat backs and your main back, Latavius Murray, if you're averaging like 4.4 yards per carry, in the rain.
That's a $1 million question. I watched the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals play in a monsoon earlier in the season, and Andy Dalton threw the ball 56 times in that game, 54 times in that game. Ridiculous. It's the way of the league now. It's a passing league. You hear this all the time, and you just think it's cliche, but that is the truth of the matter now. It's a passing league, and a lot of teams don't understand it. You can still win in this league by running the football. See the Buffalo Bills, that 4-game winning streak, keyed by the run game. But these offensive coordinators, they get joy. They have egos just like everyone else does. We have egos. They have egos too, and you know what their ego says? No one gives offensive coordinators credit for running the football. You know who does get credit? Innovative in the passing game. So you know what I want to do? I want Derek Carr to go out there and throw it 42 times, throw for 372 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Guess who's going to look good? Not only is Derek Carr going to look good, I'm going to look good because I'm the one calling those plays. So those guys have egos too, but at the end of the day, it's about winning. What gives you the best opportunity? Your defense stinks, okay? If your defense stinks, then you need to run the football, change the time of possession. You're not looking to score as fast as you can possibly score. You're looking to be efficient, eat up clock, and score a touchdown at the end of that possession, not necessarily let's score in 4 plays, 72 yards. And look, if you can score a touchdown, I don't give a damn how it looks. 4 plays, 72 yards, 13 plays, 72 yards. It's all the same. It's still a touchdown, but you don't want to keep putting that because you know the end result if you keep putting that Raiders defense on the football field. Balance would be the key for me with this Raiders football team. You're just not seeing it.
So the head coach comes out and he says, which is, to me, it seemed like he got too scared. Early on in the game, he says, we've got to go ahead and kick, a field goal. We got to go for it on 4th down. It seemed like, to me, unlike in the games in the past that they've won, which were more late type of decisions, calls in those situations. It seems like in this particular game, and again, I'm a Raider fan. I'm obviously going to say that this is the right thing to do, but it seems like he made the wrong decision in this game early and often, which is a bad recipe. Early on, he says, let's go for it. Let's kick, let's go for it on fourth down. Let's do this. Let's do that. It seems like he spent all his bullets. Here, watching this game, what were your thoughts? First half, 10-13. Second half, runaway game. And again, the defense was atrocious. And as a Raider fan, I'm going to tell you right now, oh my God, stunk. What are your thoughts on they kept it close? They were doing what they were supposed to do in the second half of that football game.
Well, to start off, that's Jack Del Rio. That's the first thing I said. Oh, that's Jack being Jack. Jack is going to roll the dice. I don't have a problem with that because when it works, guess what? Everybody loves it. They laud him. They praise him. Oh, look at Jack Del Rio. When it doesn't work, now it's a bad decision. I don't have a problem with that. Be who you are. If your guy is going to go for it on 4th and 1, and really, I'm not an analytics guy.
But
not an analytics guy.
Louis, I gotta say this.
You should go for it on 4th and 1.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to say this. Jack, he's done it in a game, one play that's made sense. He threw all his jacks out there, like in the first half. So how can this team – I understand what you're saying. Go Jack Del Rio. No, Jack Del Rio did something in the first half of this game which told us something. He does not trust this defense. He does not trust anything other than his offense. He does – he gave the kicking game they were going to do. But, again, we missed the kick. So what does that say about – Go ahead.
So let me ask you this. So Jack Del Rio rolls the dice early in the game. Let me ask you this. If your hand is hot, man, it doesn't really matter what I do. When I roll these dice, I'm going to win. If I put all my money on black, it's going to come up black. I'm hot right now. If I tell the dealer hit me and I need a 2, I'm getting a 2. He's hot. So that man right now, and everything you said is factual. He has zero confidence in the defense's ability. Marquette King could pin the opposing team at the 2. In Jack Del Rio's mind, they're still going on a 98-yard touchdown drive. Punting makes 0 sense if it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2. I'll let my offense take their chance. I trust them more than I trust the defense. That being said, I don't have a problem with him rolling the dice. I hear what you're saying, but again, it's all about knowing your team, and you know that your team doesn't play a lick of defense. So why would I put them out on the field and expect anything other than what I've seen the first 6 weeks of the season, which is allowing teams to gut us, whether it's through the air, on the ground, doesn't matter. If we're not forcing turnovers, we're not going to get the football back to our offense. So why would I trust them? So I'll go for it on 4th down. Now, with the field goal kicking game, my biggest thing is, look, John Condo's got to stop snapping the ball high. That's the second time that Seabass has missed the field goal because of a high snap. And, yeah, he probably could still make the field goal, but it just throws the whole operation off. Got to stop with these high snaps. That whole operation needs to be a lot smoother. It's not right now, and it's costing his team points. But you were in the ball game, like you said, 13-10, going to the halftime break. And I felt like you should be fortunate that this thing didn't get out of hand, because I felt like the Chiefs were moving the football up and down the field. I didn't like the way the game was going because I said, first, that was the perfect weather for the Chiefs to dominate. First and foremost, this Raiders team is a finesse football team. They don't run it a whole heck of a lot. So that kind of weather was conducive to running the football, which the Raiders don't do a lot of. The Chiefs, however, do run the football a lot. And so that weather was a setup from the jump. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. So the fact that they were in the game. Huh?
Go ahead.
What you say?
Go ahead. No.
Go ahead. So the fact that it was 13-10 at the half, I'm like, the Raiders, they're right in this thing. But you could see the tide turning. The Chiefs were gaining momentum. Alex Smith, at one point in the game, had like 11 straight completions, and he was throwing the ball down the field too. They were running the football. They were doing whatever the hell they wanted to do, and you could see eventually that this was the dam was going to break eventually. I mean, I felt early in the game though. I was like, wow, okay, that was a staple button drive early. I mean, Amari Cooper, touchdown. Who saw that coming? 7-0.
Well,
And then
and like
and
like a 50-yard return, and then Cooper touchdown. Oh, let's keep doing this, but not a good game.
That's where I was going. Like, hey, that worked. Let's keep going with that. And then you get a little bit of pressure. Carr has to throw off his back foot. And Krabs had him beat on the double move.
Yeah,
he had Marcus Peters beat on the double move. But you got pressure in your lap. It's a wet day. It's a wet ball. The conditions aren't ideal. You throw it 40 yards down the field and needed to be 50. It's a pick. It changed the whole tenor of that ball game because the Chiefs were down 7-0. Y'all had all the momentum, and after that interception, and that's where the run game needs to come into play. You need to be able to be balanced. There was no balance, and because of that, that's what happened in that game.
You said something too right now, Louis, that really stuck out to me.
I was going to say, get in there, Jace, but I was going to ask go ahead, Jace.
You touched on something about this team being a finesse team, and it's so out of Jack Del Rio's character. My thought process and what I want to know right now, since we're getting ready to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, this has become a finesse style offense where Jack Del Rio's time in Jacksonville, it was more power run and then pass. And I understand we got Derek Carr. We don't have Leftwich and all that. But how does this finesse offense match up with a Jacksonville Jaguar style defense?
Well, they're a physical team. Don't let the 2-3 record fool you. They're a physical bunch. They can get after the quarterback. They have a rookie pass rusher named Yannick Ngakoue, rookie out of Maryland, who has 4 sacks on the season, 3 forced fumbles. So when he gets there, he's looking to get the football out. Also has an interception on the season. So they can get after the quarterback. They're a dangerous group. The Bears, they had opportunities to run away with that game, and they couldn't. You can move the football on that Jacksonville Jaguars defense. I think their rookie corner, Jalen Ramsey, is going to take it upon himself, take upon the challenge of trying to stop Amari Cooper. Wouldn't shock me in the least if Cooper doesn't have a huge day against Jalen Ramsey. I think he's going to make it his mission to try to stop him. So maybe this is a game where Krabs breaks out. Maybe this is a game where Seth Roberts, if he can catch the damn ball, can have some plays made there. There's opportunity for the Raiders to do some things offensively in this football game, but the Jacksonville Jaguars are not a soft defense. They will come after you. They will pressure you. They will come up and challenge. They will play man-to-man. The Raiders are going to have to come out and be aggressive. And if that means going for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, like Del Rio's been doing, they're a team that lacks confidence. These teams right now, they're playing with confidence. They won 2 in a row. So right now they're playing with the most confidence they've had all season. That being said, if you jump on these boys early and you get out, and this is something that teams haven't been able to do on Jacksonville this year, but when it happens, you can run away with a ball game with the Jacksonville Jaguars because they're a team that lacks confidence. They don't know how to win a lot of ball games. So if you can jump on them, say 17-0, and you've done this in previous games, problem is you haven't been able to run away with these leads because your defense is so bad. You can jump on the Jaguars. You can run away with a game against them. But if you allow them to hang around, this will be a tougher game, and you will mess around and you will lose this football game because the Jaguars are playing with confidence right now. But you can take that confidence away from them with a quick start in this ball game. So I look for matchups in this game. It's all about matchups. I think Jalen Ramsey is he's gonna travel with wherever Cooper goes. I think you're gonna see number 20 across from him in this game. So if I'm the Raiders, the need to challenge Jalen Ramsey, go after one of these other guys out there who aren't as skilled and make plays. And so it's all about matchups. It's all about isolating guys and getting one-on-ones and seeing if you can win those. And I think the Raiders have some favorable matchups in this game.
And that's one of the things that I've been saying is, this team offensively needs to be able to be aggressive. Like you said, there's a difference between being aggressive going forward on 4th down and just being more flat out aggressive in the play calling. No, not so much short yardage underneath stuff, but kind of get up the field by using your backs and hitting them in the seam. How about your tight end, hitting your tight end up the seam. So I do believe that that's from where we stand. We've been wanting to see this team especially be more aggressive as far as play calling and moving the ball early in games and trying to get up on opponents early, because that's going to help our defense too, because our defense seems to be a little bit better at the beginning of games and they tend to really get caught up into the mix later in games. So that's just my thought on that. But yeah, most definitely I'm looking for those matchups. I'm looking for, stop feeding Amari Cooper. If Jalen Ramsey's on him, we don't have to feed Cooper. He doesn't have to be the star. There's Seth Roberts. Holmes looked good last week. Crabtree was a little quiet, but I believe Crabtree's the guy that you look for when Ramsey's not on him. So whoever Ramsey's got, look to the other guy. So anyway, Pete.
Yeah, no, I'm totally. I have a different opinion. I think that if you can get Amari Cooper against Jalen Ramsey, that's a gold line. If you can get Michael Crabtree against the rest of your defense, linebacker, safety, a bunch of different people, he's going to come up. Shut us down. And just like we're going to say, oh, this was the way that, we showed how Denver's going to be beat. This is a defense that shut us down. Okay? They doubled up on Amari Cooper. They brought a guy up underneath. They brought their cornerback, deep. I don't see anything that makes me believe that when we're going to be in a big game like against Buffalo, that we're going to be good. Louis, Raiders, how would you say you would attack this defense?
The Raiders defense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, to me, it's really simple. I mean, you go after the Raiders on the ground first.
There you go. You don't even have to say anything else. Yeah. You'd be like, oh, it's simple. But I would like you to go ahead and tell us how.
Yeah, I would attack much like the Chiefs did last week. Because this is the thing that people don't understand. Do you understand that game last week was 2 hours and 40 minutes? The fastest game by far this season, not even close. The NFL game has been at least 3 hours. The Raiders and the Chiefs game was 2 hours and 40 minutes. It started at 4:05. It was done by 6:45. Want to beat the Oakland Raiders? Simply take the offense out of the game. Take the air out of the football. Run the football. The Raiders can't.
I think
we talk about in these different various programs about how to fix the defense, but there's so many different moving parts. When you sit down and you take a look at this Raiders defense, we talk about losing a guy in Charles Woodson last year that was the question leader of that defense. Hell, the football team in general. But
what you do, in effect,
he's gone now. You bring in a veteran in Reggie Nelson, and you're hoping that he fills that void, but he's not Charles Woodson. Let's face it. So you lose Mario Edwards Jr.
Go ahead.
Okay, there's only one Uncle Charles, and so you bring him in, and he.
All right. It sounds like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. This is the night. Looks like we had a little bit of audio delay and some little audio feedback. So, again, Louis T, are you with me? Louis T or Pirate. Okay, so it's just me. So, anyways, just to kind of wrap this up in a nutshell, guys, this is an exciting matchup. The other question I had for the gentlemen, if they were able to jump back on before our time runs out, would be the fact is, how much of a game is this a must win? Now, when we look at the schedule, it depends on who you talk to, mainstream media, social media. Some of these experts, if you will, would say, this team's a 9-7 team. I have them at 10-6. I know a few other people have them at 11-5. Either way, me and Pirate talk about it all the time. This is one of those games and one of those matchups where this is essential that we win our conferences. We have to take care of our conference first. So this is in a lot of ways a must win in the sense of we want to get back on track. We don't want to lose 2 in a row. Jacksonville is a team that we could jump on and take advantage of moving forward. So I know it's an East Coast game. We got to travel, but this team has played really well on the road. I think that they're going to be a little fired up. They've been a bit embarrassed. And regardless of what happens defensively, we know it's still going to be a struggle. We should be making some personnel changes, some scheme changes. And these guys should be playing with a little bit more fire, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more pep in their step, if you will. And they should be able to come out here and play with a little bit more fire, which should help them, especially hopefully in the run game like Louis T was talking about. It looks like I got Louis T back on the line. Louis T, can you give us your final thoughts on this game and your prediction?
Sure. And I'm sorry for that disconnection there. Yeah, look, bottom line is I feel like this is a game that the Raiders, if they're serious, and I say this, and I said it last week, if they were serious about winning the division, that was a game that they needed to get. I thought they were dealt a really bad hand with the weather. That's not a game. Those aren't conditions that's conducive to Raiders football right now. It's not how this team is built right now. But that being said, they're going out to Jacksonville. The Jaguars, still not a good football team yet. They still struggle offensively. They struggle with taking care of the football. I could see the Raiders forcing 2 or 3 turnovers in this game. I could see the offense getting back on track this week. I expect the Raiders to win this football game, and I expect them to win this game. And I don't expect it to be one of these tight, contested contests that you got to sweat at the end for a win like you've been doing for the majority of the season. I'm looking 27 to, for the first time, the Raiders actually hold a team under 20 points. 27-17, Raiders get it done. The Jaguars struggle to score. They turn it over, and they make a mess of the game, and the Raiders take advantage and win this game going away.
Amazing. All right, Louis T, before we jump out of here, why don't you go ahead and share with the audience once again all the places they can find you on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the whole 9 yards.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys again for having me on the program and taking out the time to allow me to bless the will to win. And you can find me on YouTube. Louis T Network is the YouTube channel. Make sure you come over. We're doing a lot of big things over there, man. A lot of changes with the channel, a lot of great content, man. Come on over and subscribe to the Louis T Network for more great content in 2016 and moving forward. I'm also on Twitter at In the Lab Room, INTHELABROOM, at In the Lab Room on Twitter. Go ahead and give me a follow there if you want to be notified of when my videos are uploading. You can either turn on the notifications on YouTube, or you can follow me on Twitter. Every time I upload a video or I go live when I'm doing a video, you get notifications via Twitter. So follow me on Twitter at In the Lab Room. And I'm also on Facebook, and I'm just starting to scratch the surface on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. IN space the space L dot B dot space room. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page, and I'm just starting to figure out Facebook Live, and all of these different avenues are starting to become available to me. So I'm about to be a lot more active on Facebook. So go ahead and give me the thumbs up on Facebook as well.
Well, once again, Louis, we really appreciate you coming on the show. And once again, Raider Nation, if you want your all 32 coverage right here, that is the man you go to. Go check out our boy Louis T on the Louis T Network and all the sites that he gave you. He gave you all the information. Don't hesitate. Go sub this man up. I mean, he covers it. If you have a fantasy football team, you need some information on other matchups, this is the man you need to go check out. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our show for today. We'd like to thank our guests again, Louis T, for joining. This has been brought to you by the Will to Win broadcast for the Raider Pirate. For Louis T, I am the Knight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, stay Raider strong.